Okay, we are going to jump into this. It is going to be Central Protocol as the first map. Going to be interesting.
We're both noobs at playing, but we can cast it. That's what we got. In the top right-hand corner, in the most annoying spawn position for anyone ever, it is from Vortex Gaming, the Green Terran Kozan.
Ooh, and his opponent, very close by, up at the top left, representing Team Ascension, we have Nistic. And we are into another TVC here, guys, so we have an idea of what could happen, which is, of course, that 3 Rax Reaper. And on close spawns like this, that's hard for the Zerg.
It's one of those things where if he doesn't go through Rax Reaper, it's kind of like a Protoss not making any... If you want to win, just have a high APM. Get those adepts per minute up, you'll be okay. So Nistic, if you don't go through Rax Reaper, going to be... Or not Nistic, pardon me, Kozan. But at least, as you're mentioning last game, you almost need a premonition that it's going to happen. With this close spawn and with Nistic scouting the right position first, he may be able to get that premonition and say, okay, cool, this is what's happening. Perfect.
Yep, that is definitely true. So we can see that the 3 Raxes already are in production. If he is lucky, he might turn around the Overload before it gets scouted, if he's good enough. And that way, he'll buy himself some time, because, you know, if, as we can see, the first Reaper is going to head directly down to the bottom right.
Ooh.
I believe.
Oh yeah, this is really important that he pulls it back before it is spotted. Looking at Kozan's vision, and Nistic will spot the CC now, and Kozan still isn't seeing him. Yeah, if he pulls back, it could be perfect for him, but nope. There it is.
He's too late. And that's a big deal, actually, because a lot of people don't realize that vision is granted from the center of a model, right? So command centers and overloads have a vision of 9, but the overload will see the command center because it has a bigger model, and that's why the command center doesn't see the overload. So that's why you can turn it around and not be scouted. So he misses that opportunity. Now the Reaper knows exactly where he is, and he's in for a world of pain, I can imagine. And the Roach one does...
Or so not only that with scouting it, but of course you do have 2 refineries, so you can see one of them, which is much smaller vision, but as Pewee just said, we have a Reaper on the way. Roach Warren is out, and Nistic at least is going to have much earlier Roaches than Penguin in the last TVZ.
Yeah, absolutely. So at least he has that going from it, at least. It's still hard to work out because the Queens aren't even here, and Serpents will get picked off before they can defend. But there's the Queen. Like, not even Queens do that well against Reapers.
Oh no, it's rough, and really the Roach Warren is one of the easiest ways to defend it if you can get the Roaches up, and right now, for Nistic, he just needs to stunt the Reaper growth early on. He needs to reset it to 0, and then he's got a chance, because once it starts to steamroll, it's crazy, but now the Reapers have gone a little bit too far on to creep, and maybe these Lings can get a kill, but the Queen goes down. No inject in the main, there'll be an inject in the natural, but that's going to be incredibly huge. As we mentioned, not that many Reapers, or pardon me, Roaches will be made, but this time we have 4 Roaches. The Lings only need to survive a couple more seconds to allow the reinforcements of the Roaches to start pushing back the Reapers.
Absolutely, and 3 of the Roaches did pop in the main base there, so they at least summed them up pretty quick. But yeah, like, this is still like a lot of Reapers that can go up the ramp and come back down it. They're not going to get killed off by Zergman, so as long as they don't just jump up into their, a pack of Roaches, they can do some damage.
The Roaches and the Queens are like, we weren't meant for this, get us out of here. Trying to fall back to the main base, and I guess we'll see if staple guns of the Roaches can kill the hatch, maybe. Looks like they're going to kite pretty well for now, and without creep, the Roaches can't pursue. They got to be careful.
Absolutely. Like, they don't really want to leave as a whole, they just want to stop the Reapers getting up. It still gets very tricky. It looks like he's going to continue with the Roach production, and he's up to nearly 7 with the ones who are about to pop. So, if he does get somewhat critical mass for this stage of the game, he could just move across the map and force his opponent's hand.
88 charges push the Roaches a little bit closer to the Reapers. Reapers have to fall back, and for Nistic, he almost needs some link with this force to be able to shut down those Reapers and not let them move as freely as they like to, but this may be the golden opportunity. Picks up 1, looks like he only picks up 1 kill.
Yeah, and that's why you have to be so careful about jumping up the cliff. So he's going to just mainly go up and down the ramp now. There is a Queen, no, it's just a pack of Zerglings, which is not that scary. And, he can still get some damage done. If he sees the Roaches move to the left, he knows he might have a moment where he can jump up onto the right.
It'd be pretty funny if he was able to snipe that creep tumor just with the KD8 charges, not saying, but pulls back from there. More Roaches are on the way, but note this entire time, there's simply been a second CC for Kozan. His natural's been taken, a third CC is on the way in his main, and even if he loses these Reapers, I mean, it doesn't look like he will, and he may be able to do the damage even here to win, but he's going to be able to fall back onto a stable economy, and hopefully, because of how short it is on the map, fall back into his natural, into a bunker with these Reapers, and hold a Roach counterattack if that's what Kozan goes for. Or Nistic goes for.
Definitely, or there's also other aspects, like if he sees all the units move out, he could just go for a counterattack and bring them back.
You got a Zelnaga there, too. He could easily take that and simply wait for the move out.
I don't think that covers the entirety, like, towards the north, so...
Oh, yeah, good point.
Because sometimes you see them just go for the rocks as well, because normally, like, when you see them, they don't take that expansion that early. They just kind of wall off, make sure that they don't get counterattacked.
Oh, man, this many Reapers could overwhelm the Roaches. 12 Reapers with only 5 or 4 Roaches right there. There was 12 more Roaches in the main, but they're going to be pulled out of position, and maybe the Reapers go up into the main now, as you were mentioning. They can just kind of hang out until one army moves out and go the other way.
Yeah, we do have Roach Speed and Ravages now underway, so at least he's getting a little bit of extra tech because, like, Bile can maybe help against this. Like, it should be easy to dodge with a Reaper because of how fast they are, but still, one bad Bile shot could ruin his day. But behind this, we have Stim combat shields. The factory is beginning, and he's going to go up to most likely Medivacs and just push out with a Bio Bolt because you don't need much else against just Roaches. Just, you know, some Marauders. Fair enough, the Ravagers is somewhat scary, but, you know, if you dodge the Bile, it's not that big of a deal.
And generally, when you're generally and traditionally, you have TVZ or dodging those Banelings, you need something to fall back onto while you're kiting. But in this situation, as you said, he just dodges a Corrosive Bile. And then, if the Corrosive Bile does 0 damage, then there's a Roach with simply the same damage, but a little bit less health. It's even easier to snipe with Bio. Reapers move up again into the main. Looks like the Army of Mystics moving out, and, well, he's now going to donate pretty much his mineral line. Oh, looks like the Reapers are going to pull back, being very wary. They realize the army is out in the middle of the map, and I mean, potentially with KDA charges, it won't be too hard of a hold of this natural, I think, Pewee, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, yeah, so he goes to the Watchtower, sees this, Zergman will kill it, and...
The Marauder and Marino, like, we got this, take on the entire army.
Yeah, and he doesn't put the Marauders in the bunker there, which I guess isn't the bigger deal, but he has to focus fire
He's got to be careful.
the Roaches with the Marauders here.
Enough Corrosive Bile is going to kill the bunker before the SCVs can get there. SCVs are pulled and they will be fighting, but you got to remember the Reapers are now behind the main Ravager force. A couple of KDA charges, really well placed to be honest, are thrown out, and almost the entire army of the Roach Ravager will be destroyed, but at what cost? Looks like 13 SCVs have gone down for Kozan.
Yeah, Nistic has done a good job with his macro here. He's kind of chucking his army away, and I guess that's somewhat okay because his economy's borderline good enough to replenish it. But yeah, he did kill 13 workers. He's going to push himself all the way up here.
Oh, he's going to keep pushing like this.
Yeah, but he doesn't have enough reinforcements to actually kill him off. So he's just going to do some decent damage.
I'd give props to Nistic here, though, because he defended really well. If you look at the units lost, he only lost 1 worker with that Reaper harass. He defended super well with Roaches, and he's got to be careful not to move into the meat grinder of these Reapers one by one with his units, as you said. But I'm surprised he's doing this well, Puggy. Pewee. Oh, yeah, there, I did it. I said Puggy.
It's okay. And high ground is granted thanks to the Overseer, so he carries on pushing up. He does have road speed, and he's not targeting the Marauder, which is, you know, the heavy hitter here, like for the Terran. But he's at least taking control of the natural, and the economy is going to suffer as a result of this.
Oh man, this is going to be perfect for Nistic. 17, 18, 19 workers killed in total. The Roaches will sacrifice themselves into the SCVs. This is going to be exactly what Nistic needs to keep on in this game. Big mule throwdown, but with it being pretty close, and honestly the funny thing is, normally these horizontal spawns, you're not actually that close. By air you're close, but overall, unless you take down the rocks, you're not that close. But he's making the Roach, constant Roach pressure, almost work. I'm very surprised. Nistic's playing incredibly well right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like pure Roaches like this, it gets to a point, okay, there we are, we have the Ravagers moving in. Like, Roaches are not the most efficient unit, so, like, constantly doing this will probably, like, give your opponent an advantage because you're just chucking away so many units. Because the supplies are still in his favor, but they're, like, they were more in his favor earlier. But here it comes, the SCV is going to get on the mirror line. The Bile from the Ravager here should definitely help in with that extra DPS. The army doesn't move there, where he does dodge at the last second. And he is going to push it back into the main, but there's a tank, it's going to siege up. And he has to keep that alive.
This tank may be exactly what Kozan needs to defend, but Nistic has now been allowed to secure a foothold into the natural, and that's what Kozan was banking off of. Reaper damage into a natural, into a third CC also off the back of this, but it's looking a little grim for him, Billy.
Yeah, absolutely. The command center is forced to lift off, and there's only a couple of units left over. Like, this is very, very close, but I think he's going to get this. There we are.
Left alone.
Yeah, well, there's nothing protected there. He picks it up, brings it back, and he does have a slight wall off. But I like that he uses the bile on the command center, gets some extra damage done. Like, behind this, we also have a Spire in production. One's about to finish. We have had that already finished for the Terran, which is good for him. Because if he didn't have that, it probably would have maybe lost already, because that's just about kept him alive. But the tank is going to get target again.
Well played, Nistic. Hey, you saw the defense. You said you'd never seen a defense of a 3-Rex Reaper, and that was a solid defense. He only lost one worker that entire time. It was very quick Roche Warren, but that was all because he had a really quick scout with the Overload, of course, earlier on, and it was just nice overall. He was able to scout, see what was happening, throw down the Roche Warren, and defend.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think that might be a slight skill difference between them. So, wait that 1 sec. Yeah.
You alright?
Yeah, just something stuck in my throat. There we are.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Yeah, with a slight skill difference possibly. Overall, GG well played, though. This is a best of 3, so there's still some leeway for Kozan to be able to take a game back. And, I mean, you got to remember, in the first best of 3, he did go 2-1 versus Penguin. He's no shabby player. He's got the skill, and he can make it happen. But Nistic also is incredibly good, very high on the North American ladder.
Yeah, definitely. So
I cast all those scrubs, and you're used to casting the European players, and I'm like, wow, that was really good. Like, oh, it was okay at best. Like, no, scrubs are amazing.
That's yeah, that's a good point. Like, I get to cast normally a little bit higher tier players, which is always good for me.
I can't. It's kind of funny. I feel like I either cast the North American players, which are great, or I cast the really top Koreans. I never kind of get the Europeans in between, so that's kind of where I'm at. In a lot of these weeklies, though, tracked, of course, the other players, and it's starting to get themselves a little bit of a spot in this scene. You know, Nistic, he's been around for a while, but with giving him, okay, here's a tournament, here's $100 a week, 75 first place, here's $75, try to fight for it. And it's really cool because you're giving these semi-pro players a chance, and I know they all love it.
Definitely, which, you know, it fits more in with, you know, the new WCS season as well. So, you know, it's more foreigner based. It's about, you know, growing the home talent, and this obviously contributes to that as well. So, you know, the more money you put into the scene for, you know, I want to call them the low dogs, but, you know, the non-Koreans pretty much, you know, allows the scene to thrive. So we're into map number 2 here, Ruins of Siraz, or whatever it's pronounced.
Ruins of Saris. Whatever.
Sarah's, yeah. That's my British for you. And yeah, we're into this. So it's 1-0 up for one of the players here. Would you like to do the introductions?
Sure. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have the green Terran player, the one, the only, it is Kozan. And his opponent in the bottom right-hand corner, the Blueser representing Team Ascension, it is Nistic. Team Ascension is one of those pillars in the North American scene, just FYI. Really great team.
Yeah, I've heard, I know of them, I know bits about them, but of course being European, I just know that.
And Europeans getting up all in our North American scene. Ugh.
Definitely. And, like, not cross spawns, you know, still not close by air or, you know, vertical, which is nice for the Zerkia, but obviously he does want that cross spawn if possible. But I wonder what the Terran is going to go for. It's most likely a Reaper opening, which is always like a good choice on a map like this because it's so big, you don't have to waste resources on an SCV. And the Zerg is going to go for just one hatch into that spawning pool. So he's not going like triple hatch, which you don't really do against a Terran, but sometimes you do see it now and then.
It's pretty dicey versus Terran, I will agree. Often Liberators just shut you down. It's an incredibly common opening on this map. And Reapers easily can scout you, but no matter how you pronounce the name of this map, it is the biggest one of the map pool, so there's a lot of distance. You can see Kozan scouting up to the top left-hand first, but we also have Nistic in the bottom right. What is he up to? Looks like normal hatch gas pool, and I'm curious whether we're going to see, because so far the Zergs we've seen, aka Penguin, has gone Baneling Ling almost always, and I'm curious to see if he's an unencumbered player that can go Roach Warren instead of taking that early damage. What he can do with that.
Absolutely. Like, he most likely will, just because it's the best way to deal with Liberators is either the Spore, the Queen, or Ravagers. But
Spore.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a little bit iffy because, of course, you do have, the Liberator just killing stuff anyway. But the Reaper's up here, just gonna have a bit of a scout, try to get some damage done. Not really gonna get too much. But at least he doesn't lose it like the last game that we did see, so, it has the possibility.
Ruins of Ceres is one of the better maps to kill that Reaper, but yeah, you're saying it gets that scout, and possibility, as you're saying, to maybe scout a third base, see what's going up, and figure out what tech the meta's gonna move into.
Yeah, definitely. So the Stargate does, or Starport does begin now. We have a second gas being taken as well for the Zerg with the Lair incoming. So he might go for that fast fire just to maybe, catch the Liberators off guard, kill them off. Because normally, like, you see Ravagers, you don't really see Spires. So
if
I'm
we
a bit
have,
curious.
it doesn't look like it too much, but you always got to have in the back of your head as a Terran player the possibility of a Nidus network. No Overlords are in position for that, but you can also rush to that sometimes. Every once in a while you'll see that.
Definitely, and he did actually just swap a build a tech lab on that barrack, so it might be, unless he drops a fusion core, it might be Cloak Banshee.
Ooh. That'd be interesting, and... Oh, what is it? What is it? I'm guessing it's going to be Cloaked Banshee. That's pretty much what he gets out of that. He's like, nah, one Liberator at a time. That was the nice thing when the Liberator upgrade was in that tech lab, only because if you scouted it as Zerg, if you were scouted, they still didn't know if you're going Banshee or Liberator. It looked like one or the other. You weren't sure. That, and honestly, Huey, I'm just curious, what do you think of where this Banshee sits in the meta for TVZ? Because I feel like Liberators are just so good purely... They can shut down Overlords and kill units, and yes, they have to commit to bases a little bit more, and it's hard to micro, but I feel like overall I see many more kills with Liberators than Banshees.
Like, it's a bit interesting now. It's not fully developed. I feel like, it's a bit more map dependent, because if you don't have that dead space like you do on this map...
Oh, the Hellion scouts the Spire! Beautiful for Kozan.
Yeah, that just sneaks right past. The Spinecrawler does some damage, so you can finish him off. But yeah, like, if you have the dead space... Like, I would say go for the Liberators because there's less risk and it's less invested tech, It's something that plays into the future. Well, otherwise you have to have the Banshee with the cloak and all that. So, yeah, I'm a little curious to see how much damage you can actually get done with this. But also, it plays into a mind game where it's like he's expecting Liberators and, next thing a cloak Banshee shows up and he doesn't have detection. He does have the Lair, so of course, it's not going to be too far behind with that Overseer, but still, if he gets two of them, that's cool, because then you can just, do a double chunk of damage. But the Banshee is here. It's already got 4 kills, which is quite nice. The Overseer is morphing in. It's not targeting the Queen, which if it did right now, it would kill that anti-air, because, Banshee beats the Queen 1-on-1. But he is going to fly up into the main and just get some economic damage done, which is, it's guaranteed damage, so it's a good choice.
Yeah, it's pretty good for him. He will be able to get the damage done, but 8 mutas are on the way, and by the time those mutas come out, there's going to be no energy left for the Banshee to keep kiting, and I think for the Banshee, even though the Liberators, they do scale well into that mid to late game and you can use them, the Banshee's versatile, like you were saying. If your opponent's caught off guard, let's just say that Nistic didn't go muta right there. The Banshees themselves could shut down the Queens. They could get Cloak and they could do that. So it may just be a great mind game. Overall, we have a second Banshee out on the map, and he's going to be sitting down in the bottom left. Won't be able to move in quite yet, but we have a now decent potent force of 8 mutas, and there's no Liberators at all for Kozan, and he's almost completely Hellion. These mutas could waltz across the map and just slap him in the face, take out a base. That rhymed. Ugh.
Close enough. He does have a nice turret right by the production, so he shouldn't get overwhelmed. But what he does here is, the mutas start heading back, he flies back into the natural, and he brings them back. So he buys himself some more time. This allows him to get, more Marines. His stim should be complete by then, and he will have medevacs. So, they can deal with mutas pretty well. It's just they don't really kill the mutas. They just stop them doing damage.
And think of how big of a commitment this is right now for Nistic. He's got, what, in total, 9, 10 mutas that are all in the defensive. They have not been aggressive. He went Spire early on, and maybe he was playing it the entire time, but they've only been defending. And now on Kozan's side of the map, he's got Marines out. Stim is going to be done. Plus 1/1 is going to be close to be done. These mutas have kind of done nothing, and they may be an overall detriment to Nistic's play if he can't get any damage done here.
Definitely. Of course, that doesn't make them absolutely worthless just yet, because as soon as the army moves out, you could maybe come in, find a sweet spot, go for, the the barracks at the top of the ramp or something like that, and like the E-base, like they're exposed, so he can bring the army back and buy himself more time. But I like the way that he's added on the Baneland Nest after the Spire. There's the upgrades as well for the Zerglings, and he did also produce a big round of drones just after the Mutas finished up. So he needs another round, but he is actually supply blocked for the time being. So 5 Overlords about to pop, and that will give him some freedom to build whatever he wants.
With that supply block, though, I guess the APM was in the creep spread because it's pretty darn good so far in total for Nistic. He's almost got halfway across the map, and now, ooh, there's a scan, and at least the scan, though, tells not only Kozan what's going on, but Nistic, okay, here's your push. This is a push he did versus Penguin in the very first game we casted today. He was able to win it, and we'll see how Nistic tries to defend it in this game. What's he got out of the map? 11 mutas. Only 5 lings, but a whole bunch of banelings morphing in, and Kozan, after cleaning that up, is going to pull on back home, interestingly enough.
Yeah, that's a little curious. Like, he's building a good amount of workers and stuff like that, so he's kind of just threatening the Zerg, which stops him building more workers, and he's getting a slight economic lead off the back of that, because he's in a pretty good spot. He did go for a different build compared to the one we saw against Penguin, because he went for Liberators and a tank, and this is Hellbats instead, so it's slightly different. But he's up against the same composition, so we can have an idea what's going on now. That way might get sniped.
We've seen this kind of composition change from game 1 into pretty much Widowmine Bio Hellbat into as game 2 is saying Siege Tank Liberator, and we'll see if it can do the damage here. There's so many mutas out on the map, but I'm a little bit worried he's giving too much time for Nistic to be able to accumulate a whole bunch of banelings, and baneling speed is done in a few seconds, plus 1 melee. Everything's going to come together beautifully for Nistic, and Kozan may be caught out in the middle of the map. Looks like not for now, though. Oh, pulls back.
No. Yeah, this is a couple of units there, and he just stim a pack of them just to zone out the mutas. But at least he's stopping the creep from progressing, which is something that you really want to do. We have a double expansion incoming for the Zerg. So, give it a couple of minutes, and the Zerg should be in a really good spot if he can last that long, which I think he can. The supplies is still somewhat scary with the 20 supply difference. He's on creep right now, which he has to be very careful of, considering these banelings do have speed.
Oh, and it could be a surround. Looks like the lings are going to completely bypass the Widowmines. Widowmines left-hand side were not allowed to burrow down. On the right, they did burrow down, but it looks like Nistic's going to fall back. He does not want to be that aggressive into it. And, man, Kozan, though, is not going to be allowed to engage with these Widowmines. He wants to, but, Nistic allowed him. Barely the Widowmine almost went off, and I'm surprised Nistic pulls back. Does not want to take that a fight. Infestation Pit is on the way off the back of this. As you said, a stronger economy too. He is aiming to go up to Ultras. He'll have +1 or +2 melee done when they happen, or at least +3. So he's going to be set with that. While Kozan, he's very nicely pumping out this. He's very aggressive right in the middle of the map, holding that map, that vision, and a 4th base is on the way. But, oh man, these mutas, that one Widowmine hit would decimate that.
Yeah, there's 2 of them right there, so he has to be so careful. Scan does get dropped. There is an overseer, so he can see them. He shouldn't just suicide, because if he does, that can be like game over, because if they took a double Widowmine hit, like, they're not going to be strong enough to fight, and Costa could just Kozan could just go for it, and he is now getting his 3-3, so he has a nice advantage here on his upgrades.
Man, I am incredibly surprised about how Kozan is playing. He's playing really well. Saw him beat Penguin, and now we'll see how good his splits are. A couple of banelings going off pretty darn good, but the rest of the force of Nistic is just kind of waiting. These mutas see a prime opportunity. They will be able to snipe one of these medevacs, and they're going to have to pull him back after this, but this is baiting unit after unit into these banelings. Beautiful play from Nistic. And still, Nistic, he's holding back so much. It's almost as if he's saying, you know what, if I can get pure baneling, if I can get 100 banelings and ultras, that would be good, but looks like he's going to finally go for it. A big fight is going down. There are Widowmines, but they're completely behind the bio forces. A couple Widowmines do go off, but the entire bio is getting cleaned up. Beautiful shots from the banelings, and looks like it's going to be down to a couple Marauders left. This is essentially what we saw, I think, in game 1, too, happen. Just Marauders are left.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, a couple of Marines left over, and then the game was won by the Terran. But he picks up a couple of the units, drops them back here. There's not many Marines, so the mutas are going to overwhelm this. And he should kind of pick off the medevacs here just to stop them getting too high in supply. Because if you get too many medevacs, it's
Kozan's got to be super careful. So a couple Marines getting out of position. Looks like they will get a very nice angle, but with the lings on the ground, it will take their fire away, will preoccupy them, and this Kozan is going to push, or pardon me, Nistic is going to push incredibly across the map. He's got to pull back, but this has all been a beautiful facade for, what, a 5th and 6th base? 4th and 5th.
Definitely. Yeah, he also killed all the medevacs as well, so there's like no medevacs. you can't move out without medevacs, so he buys himself a lot of time here, and that's a good move because at first he was targeting the Marines, and then he was like, okay, like I'm not gonna lose meters to these Marines, so he targets down the medevacs, and he buys himself a lot of time, but still he doesn't have 3-3 in production, and it's like 40 seconds left until that finishes for the Terran.
He's got to be careful. Adrenal Glands, though, is on the way in an Ultralisk Cavern, but Nistic, he's been playing so patiently, waiting for everything to go in his favor. And you got to remember, Nistic is currently up 1-0. He's able to beat a 3-Rex Reaper in the previous game for Central Protocol, but now we see Nistic trading out. Looks like he's going to try to cancel. The 4th base is incredibly important for Kozan to keep up, and it's going to pull the entire army out of position. The army was moving out. Maybe they could have got an angle, but it looks like this is way too important for Kozan. The mutas are going to be able to kite for a little while, but they're going to pull back on out of this. And I'm still waiting for Nistic, when the army's out of position, to flood links into the 3rd or something of Kozan, but he's being so dang careful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he just wants to defend. He kind of knows that he's the slightly better player, so as long as he doesn't do anything stupid, he'll be all right. And like, there's enough reinforcements there where the would most likely be defended. So that's probably the more correct choice to do. But okay, he picks up a double medevac drop, flies it over creep, which is never a good idea. He realizes this and starts killing some of the creep tumors because like you can't fly over creep and there's a pack of meters flying around. So yeah, that's definitely a good idea to drop back and fall back that. Oh, we have Thors in production as well now. So
oh, I like that.
Yeah,
they're just good. It's kind of funny. They're a little bit strangely good, and I've seen them do remarkable things versus Mass Ling, which is what we're going to see out of Nistic next. Tons of Lings coming out.
Yeah, they're a good anchor point for your army, especially when you have ultras and stuff on the field. But this is still a very scary Terran army. And some Banelands morphing in will get picked off there. But it's, yeah, 5 bases is quite nice for the Zerg here. He double expanded and took the 4th and 5th. Yeah, in reaction to the 4th.
He's got a quarter more income at the moment, 2,100 minerals a second, or part a second. 2,100 minerals a minute with mules for a little while for Kozan. But, oh, interestingly enough, overall, Nistic is actually down because of mules. Not only is Kozan up by 3 SCVs, but he's also got, what, 4 or 5 mules pretty much anytime he wants. So he's actually got a slight income lead over Nistic. But is that income lead enough to stop 7-3 Ultras? I think the Ultras don't have Chitinous quite yet.
Ooh, that's a big deal as well. We actually have +3 fire attack.
Interesting.
Did
the Chitinous is not even. No, the Chitinous is not even on the way. There is 3. No, there it is. Actually finished. It just finished. Yeah, we have 3. We'll have 3-3, and these Ultras, they're going to be incredibly strong. Kozan, has been doing well, but if you look at the bank, he's got 1,500 minerals in the bank. He's just maxed out. This is his army, and I don't think he'll be able to reinforce after this. Whoever wins this engagement may take the game. Nistic up 1-0 versus Kozan, and Nistic's like, nope. I don't do that. I don't do what the caster says. I'm going to take the other base.
Yeah, pretty much. He is going to take one all the way up at the top right. So like, he's done a good job of macroing up. Of course, he's put a lot more into his resources. So there is resources into upgrades. So there is that. Like, you are somewhat right, though. Like, the next fight could just be like, if the Zerg loses it, like, badly, he's dead. If the Terran...
Yeah, and it doesn't have a bank to fall back onto with the Terran. Exactly. I don't think can produce fast enough, so... This is an interestingly awkward game where I felt like both players had adequate time to get up bases, but they were just both so aggressive that neither of them were able to secure the economies they wanted.
Oh, Nistic not reacting to this drop here in the center base.
That is huge!
It's done a lot. It's still like 25 workers there.
That is amazingly huge, and that's going to pull the entire army out of position. As Bewley just said, 25 workers, almost half the total income for Nistic, was killed in that attack. And man, Kozan is just waiting it out, and he may be able to take this. I'm incredibly surprised. But, yeah, but Ultras do. 7 Ultras do.
Yeah. Like, he has an extra 310 supply, so I don't know if he's going to rebuild that into workers, or if he wants a bigger army supply to win the, guarantee the fight win. But he's going to catch a little pack of units out in the center.
Kozan is down by 15 supply, but yeah, just saying the upgrades.
Oh, and here it comes. Baneland's crashing into everything. Thor's tanking so much of it. But it looks like there's a lot of army supply left over for the Zerg. The Thor gets cleaned up. There's one left trying to run away. He gets surrounded. And as long as the Banelands don't really blow up on all the Thors, this should go into the Zerg's favor because the army supply is quite Good for him. But he doesn't want to chase the army down all the way because it's going to run back to the planetary. And, like, that's going to be a hard engagement to win.
It will run back to the planetary, but there are 7 ultras, and the ultras being a little bit indecisive. Some going for the third, some going for the planetary. They do not want to do this, as you just said, Pee-wee. The planetary will be able to do a lot of damage into them, but the ultras are now forcing SCVs not to work. They're all over the place, and 7 ultras didn't die the entire time. Yeah, splash damage is not going to be good, but 5 more ultras are on the way. Nistic came out ahead, slaughtered the army, and has just enough bank to be able to pump the unit that precisely he needs. And the ultras still haven't gone down. That base has gone down, and both are still alive.
Yeah.
Ultras. Pee-wee, ultras.
Pretty much. Because the Terran was maxed out, he didn't have anything in production, he didn't have anything to defend back at home, and...
nothing ready to fall back on as that anchor point, like you were saying, but maybe the cores are what he needs. Yeah.
But 90 supply in Army V36, this is still really, really hard for the Terran, and I don't really see him breaking this. 3 ultras chomping away at the ultra there. Bio's going to be next, and the 2 will get gold.